Hey everyone, it's Tom. It's FANzine Live. We are looking at crowdfunded zines today. It's going to be another issue of Planet Comics. And you know, probably if you've watched this channel for any period of time, I have a certain interest in Planet Comics because the Planet Comics version that was published by Antarctic Press has my first ever professionally printed direct sales distributed comic story, and that's the Run for Your Life story that I did with John Muller. As we have discussed in the past, there is another version of Planet Comics, and that is one done by a guy named, I believe his name is Jeff McClelland. And Jeff he's up to number 6 on his. His is a magazine-size crowdfunded zine, not direct sales. And this is it. This is the latest edition. And who is that character that we know oh so well? Yes, it is the Tick. And because all great crowdfunding programs have to have stickers and cards and swag, you can see we've got some stickers, cards, and swag. In addition, we've got a nice little mini poster as well. I like that. Let's talk about this kind of in the macro sense. Planet Comics is a public domain name for a series that was done back in the golden age, back in the 40s and 50s. It's a sci-fi collection. It's an anthology. So then you have the question of why in the world do we have The Tick, which is not necessarily a sci-fi, at least classic sci-fi story. I mean, it's a satire or spoof of the superhero genre. A great one that I didn't do a great job back in the 80s of getting all of the really hot titles. I missed out on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but yes, I did get a copy of The Tick #1. So I've got that, and I like The Tick, and TV show was great. Patrick Warburton, great actor, did a wonderful rendition of The Tick. But why in this? And the answer I've learned in reading this is that Jeff McClelland apparently has contacts and friendships with those behind The Tick, including the creator Ben Edlund. He, I think, has written some Tick in the past, and because he's got his own title now, Planet Comics, McClelland has kind of dusted off and made his own. He wanted to do a Tick story in the whole framework of my book, my party, my rules. And as a guy who does that with Strange Times, I perfectly agree and applaud with it. So let's take a look inside, see what we have. This, I believe, is an Edlund cover, and here's the fun part of it. Who is the unknown? Then you open it up, and in the classic duplicate cover mode, he threw in a second cover of the Infinitic, which appears to be Edlund as well. I love how he did the two covers like it's a CGC error type thing. I think that's just hysterical. Jeff and Dwayne Redhead, they did this Tick story. Oh, need to mention, this is really neat. Along the top of the contents page, they put in their story thus far bits for their 2 ongoing stories. Really neat approach, rather than wasting time or pages in the big book, just to take a strip out of the content page, put in a sample of the artwork, and then give the update as to what's going on in the story. I like that. Really smart move. Back to The Tick. Great looking artwork. Very faithful to what we've seen out of The Tick in the past. It is a very funny, well done spoof on the superhero world. It's just a lot of fun. I'm not going to read it to you, but I do note here that they go and they kind of find this multiple reality thing. So they're spoofing the multiverse stuff that our DCs and Marvels have just been going totally overboard on. You look in the back here, you've got, the Tick in the Batman outfit, and you've got different other Ticks of different sizes and shapes. And then you've got the Unknown, or the Infinitic. This guy spending a lot of time talking about how the Tick really thought that he always would have looked good in a cape. Well, this is kind of proof. It's a great story. As zines go, this one lives up to crowdfunded expectation. Artwork is great. Story is great. Coloring is great. It's just, this is pro level stuff. It's just fantastic. Then we go back to Old Man and the Sea of Love, shift totally away from the humor, spoof, satire stuff of The Tick and the superhero stuff to going more toward a straight science fiction story. Love the use of the color. Love the relatively simple color design, but the artwork is great. The line work is really good. Does a neat stuff here with the rattling as he's firing his engine on the rocket to take off and how he's rumbling. Neat story there. I like that. And this is the Kolshe Suk where even memory is for sale. This is The Archivist of El Ezrek. Really interesting to me. Again, coloring, it's digital, but it's simple where it needs to be, and you throw in just the right amount of extra shading to make it pop and really drive home some of the depth of the character. I mean, like right here, you can see it's just flats, whereas here you actually have some color texture going on. Also notice how you've got a gradient in every one of the caption boxes. A simple art style, really relying on the coloring to drive home the shading, drive home the depth and texture. Neat story, all about how the Imperial overlords, trying to make those who they have conquered and defeated love them, basically are wiping out people's minds, erasing their memories and putting them onto compact discs. This person is running around trying to collect those discs. You've got in the true classic Planet Comics mode, because back in the 50s and 40s, you had to actually have text articles or short stories in order to get the periodical authority from the US government. So they would put these short stories in, and they've got them in Action Comics and stuff like that as well. But this was the Planet Comics version, and it's a pretty good story as well. This is the story that Jeff did talking about the whole stuff with the tick. And this is first of a two-parter. Planet Comics number 7 will have the follow-up. Diana Kruger writes a really sharp overview of this Jimmy Thompson, who was born up in Canada and moved down to the States and got into the comic book industry to do Western stories and Indigenous people and early American comic books. Fantastic looking work. And this is 1938, guys. Just great looking stuff. And again, you have to remember the times that we're operating in. I mean, the characters do look a little stereotypical, but I mean, the line work is great. The texturing is great. It's just fantastic. Can't believe that a person like this then moved on and did Marvel Mystery Comics in 1944 like this. Never liked that version of Namor. And this is 1949, almost a Dave Stevens type style. Then Jeff wisely goes back and mines the archives of the original Planet Comics to share a scan of one of the original stories. These are all public domain. You can go do this yourself if you want. He just does a really nice job. Planet Comics was a comic-sized magazine. Now, Golden Age comic, but not the size of this 8.5 by 11 magazine. It's a little bit narrower. So it's kind of hard to see, but you can see a difference in the coloring between the cream background of the paper and then the cream background that he inserted on both sides. So running down the edge, rather than have white or black, he actually matches up the cream, and really well done. And yeah, the original Planet Comics was really corny. I mean, it's great stuff for the day, but it is what it is. Then we get to the last story. Again, real simple artwork. This reminds me of the likes of, initially I was thinking Darwin Cook, but really it's more like an Elsa how do you say that? Elsa Charretier? Neat stuff. Again, simple artwork, real simple lines. Angles obviously are cartoonish, but a great sense of the unknown, a great sense of the story. Just does a really nice job there. There's our piece. Full size, which really would have probably benefited from getting the same treatment that we got over here with the reprint from the original Planet Comics, or maybe take the top down and frame it in white. It's a great piece of art. Then the original art on Planet Comics number 3 sketch cover. You can see we've got the tick in there as well. Nice piece on all the different creators. And then the back cover. Very sharp Planet Comics number 6. I think this is a good one. If you have not been following Planet Comics, you ought to look it up on Kickstarter and just start getting into it. I'm sure that when they solicit for number 7, they'll probably have a way to order back issues so you can pick up a copy of 6. They also do have Wagon Wheel Comics, and I do see an email for information, but I would probably just go straight to Kickstarter and just get yourself in line for issue number 7. Great looking book. Beautiful full-size magazine, saddle stitched. I mean, glossy all the way through. It's a gem. It's a good one. So that's it. I don't have much more to say other than they're continuing to do great stuff with Planet Comics. Folks, thank you so much. Why don't you take a moment and let me know what you think about this? Are you a fan of the Tick? Have you read this story yet? And of course, as always, don't forget, like the video, subscribe to FANzine Live, and tell your friends, because we talk about stuff here with crowdfunded zines, with other types of zines, bringing back some of our classics like The Tick that you just don't see discussed too many other places. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This is FANzine Live, Crowdfunded Zines. I'm Tom, and I will catch you next time.